The coverage for our final exam will only be this, since we didn't have the time to discuss each topics that were covered by the activities. I have included for our exam those topic and questions that we have covered before in the midterm. Most of the items were taken from our quizzes and exams during the midterm plus some topics in the finals as shown in the succeeding slides. This is the story of one member of the Ada group, who shared how their tribe have been displaced and discriminated. They have become insecure and taken advantage of. But through education, they experience renewed hope and confidence. They learned through the literacy program introduced by the church. Through this they have learned to read and write, and this in spite of the insecurities they experienced for a long time, they have acquired self-confidence. A question in the quiz and final exam have been taken out here, asking the meaning of the phrase and the thought of it as a whole. That they are no longer subject to the deceptions of the middlemen and the military, they cannot take advantage anymore, they can already read the contents of a contract and be able to write letters. They are now able to control the prices of their products, and not sell their products for less, because they do not understand the true value of their products, that before no matter how hard they labor, they just cannot escape the endless cycle of debt. But now through education there is hope, for now they can already understand, and they are no longer illiterate. A question have also been taken in this part. It is not only in education that will empower our people. Like ever since it is common, that we think that education is the answer to problems like poverty, discrimination, it is that chance to improve one's life. But here another need is mentioned, equally as important. It is the need to organize. I also have self-reflect in these statements, being an introvert myself, it is a realization that there is indeed power in organization, in groups. There is just limitation in what you can do alone, in your voice and actions, no matter what effort you give, what educational achievements you achieved. It cannot surpass the power gained through organization. It is your collective efforts to meet common goals and aspirations, and in the case of our indigenous people it is their plight for self-determination, their right to their cultural heritage, their rights to their ancestral domains. Like the story shared by the Ada member, they organized themselves, and they started through their villages, under the umbrella organization called Lakas, to voice and fight for their important concerns like human rights and sovereignty. To summarize, our literacy program liberated us from both ourselves and our oppressive social structures. The fight and struggle is both internal and the outside discriminations we faced. We have overcome our low self-image. Based on the way we look and speak, although not all of us have already learned to read and write, this marks the beginning, and we will transmit these acquired knowledge to our brothers and sisters. We can now walk tall and look straight into the eyes of others, and be of equal to the majority as we learn to walk and mingle, and share ideas with them. We can now speak in assemblies such as this even if we still feel nervous. Our ideas are now given importance and we can express ourselves freely, share our ideas and aspirations. We know and we feel that we are now recognized and accepted as persons. They listened to us, and recognized us that we are also people of intellect and passions. We grew in critical thinking and analysis. Organized, we ceaselessly seek the truth. We courageously uphold our rights and human dignity and strive to improve our livelihood. We struggle for political, social and cultural freedom. And we constantly abide by our principle, oppress no one and let no one oppress you. A question is also included in the exam about these, asking the meaning of these principles. In the Philippines, UNDP has to date undertaken projects that focused on improving the capacity of government agencies, civil society, and other service providers, as well as building capacity amongst IPs and their leadership. The United Nations have taken an active role in its mission to help alleviate poverty and help the plight of the indigenous people, which are also among those usually in poverty, because of their lack of literacy and inability to adapt to change of the times. But the United Nations to their projects and undertakings assure to provide the needed support to the plight of the indigenous people. They provide training to improve the capacity of the government to help the indigenous people, those in the civil societies. They provide aids, funding, capacity building among the indigenous groups and their leadership among themselves. The capacity building for IP leaders and community development, paralegal functions and project planning and management projects provided training on basic and advanced paralegal skills, leadership and gender sensitivity, community organizing, and project development and management to dozens of IP leaders and governmental staff. A question is derived here enumerating the projects and undertaking provided by the United Nations, providing training in many aspects to provide holistic development and growth towards the government and the indigenous community leaders. These sessions resulted in increased awareness of leaders and elders on leadership and gender issues, strengthened traditional structures of community development and law enforcement, and improved competence levels for integrating tribal and customary laws with national legal processes.